This is Sports Talk Show with Ed. Welcome to episode 3. My name is Edward Rentasso. Happy Saturday to all of you. I want to thank you for watching on our show. It's been a very difficult week, as you know, but I'm glad to be back here with all of you. I want to thank everybody who's viewed the show these past 2 weeks. Thank you for the subscribers and thank you for those who have viewed. We had 10 viewers who viewed our show last week, and I'm very grateful for that. And I want to say thank you, and let's keep subscribing. Let's keep tuning in. Thank you to you loyal fans. So I just wanted to put that out for you right now, and just want to welcome you to the show. We got some things to talk about today. Today is Saturday, February 1st, our first show of the new month, the start of Black History Month as well. And we got to go to the top topics, which we will shortly. But first, I do want to remind you guys that the Clash at the Coliseum is back. It is tomorrow afternoon. Tickets are still on sale. You can still reach out to Ticketmaster, call the Coliseum, StubHub, whatever you go, NASCAR.com. You don't want to miss this, folks. This is once in a year that the Coliseum is turned from a football field to a racetrack. And I'm going to be at that racetrack tomorrow. I'll have some highlights. I'll have some shots. And we'll probably talk about it more in the coming days. But we will be there tomorrow. For those of you that cannot go, you can go ahead and tune in at 5 p.m. on Fox. So thank you, NASCAR. Hope you thank me for that contribution. But now, let's talk about some sports then, shall we? Let's go to one of the biggest stories that happened this week. Tom Brady. The GOAT on Wednesday posted on his Instagram shout saying that he is done with football and that he is done for good. And he will be ending a 23-year journey, which actually started about 23 years ago this week. Yes, we remember the first Super Bowl he had when he went up against at the time, the St. Louis Rams in Super Bowl 36. One of the key factors of that game was the late, great John Madden. After the Rams had tied the game at 17, the ball was inside the 20. It was about maybe a minute or so left in the clock. I remember John Madden saying, at the time, with the field position there is and the time left, I wouldn't risk it. I would play for overtime. Not sure if Tom Brady heard him say that, because after he made that suggestion, Brady marched the Patriots down to the field. Adam Vinatieri kicked the game-winning field goal, thus completing one of the biggest upsets in history. The Rams were 14-2 that year. They had the greatest show on turf. They had Kurt Warner. They had Marshall Faulk, Isaac Bruce, Torrey Holt, Hakeem, Ernie Conwell. And they had a great defense, They had London Fletcher. They had Aeneas Williams. They had Dexter McClellan. They had a lot of players on that team, and yet the Patriots, with a second-year man, beat the greatest show that ever played. Now we look at 20 years later. One of my other favorite moments is the Super Bowl with the Rams again, which some people say it was the worst Super Bowl ever. But, I can't really judge, because it was a defensive struggle through that whole game until the fourth quarter, where the Patriots put up 10 points. It was a 3-3 game. No one could do anything. The Rams had Jared Goff and Robert Woods, They had Todd Gurley, but they just weren't able to make any production, and the Patriots still beat the Rams. Brady went on to win 6 rings with the Patriots. He went on to win another ring in 2020 with the Tampa Bay Bucks in his first year. He stayed there for 3 years, led them to 2 straight division titles, one NFC championship game, 1 Super Bowl appearance, led them to playoff appearances in those 3 years, only lost twice. One loss was to the Rams, and then this latest one to the Dallas Cowboys, who will now be remembered as the last team to beat the GOAT. You look at Tom Brady's records against everybody in the NFL. He hasn't had a losing record. Sure, maybe Peyton Manning was the only one close to him to beat him a few times. And even though in his last years he did own Tom Brady, but Brady pretty much owned the NFL. Kind of like how the San Francisco 49ers, won 5 Super Bowls. This is the type of play, folks, that you're never going to see ever again in the NFL. The good quarterbacks that have played in this era are pretty much done. Phillip Rivers, Big Ben, Eli Manning, Peyton Manning, and now Drew Brees, Brett Favre, and now Tom Brady. These are first-class quarterbacks that you may never see perform. We might have a future right now. I mean, you look at the NFL, you look at the quarterbacks right now. You got Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts. Those guys are going to duke it out next Sunday. You have Josh Allen, who's still up there. Lamar Jackson, who's up there. There's other quarterbacks out there. Kirk Cousins is another one right there. I would say Aaron Rodgers, but right now we don't know what he's going to do, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But this is what I wanted to talk about first. As you know, he announced his retirement, as I said, but a lot of us are still wondering whether it'll be for good or it'll be just, hey, I'll retire and then I'll be back in a few weeks. We don't know. It's just hard to believe if Brady will be done or not, because he's done this before. I mean, we all know what he did last year. After losing to the Rams, he announced his retirement. And after that, he retired for about, 40 days. And then he said, you know what, I'm going to come back. And then we heard about his personal things as far as his divorce goes. Assuming his wife didn't want him to play anymore because he had all the money. But I don't know. Well, I mean, you guys can comment down below. What do you guys think? You think he's done? I mean, personally for me, I think he's done. He has nothing left to prove. He's won 7 rings. He's beat almost everybody in the NFL, I mean, I don't know. It's just, you wonder, like, what's the age combination or what age limit is where your body says, you know what, enough is enough. I mean, you look at athletes that played over the age of 40, some of them still have it in them, or some are just playing to just either collect a paycheck or maybe just want to relive their glory days, or they just want to win a Super Bowl. Take Mark Brunell, for instance. He played for a couple years in Jacksonville, led them to 2 AFC championship games. He went to Washington, where he took them to a division title and a playoff game. Went to New Orleans to back up Drew Brees, won a Super Bowl there. Went to the Jets to try to win another Super Bowl, and at the same time mentoring Mark Sanchez. Didn't go anywhere there, and he pretty much just called it a career after that. So, I mean, you wonder if, we've seen other backup players that played in the NFL that went on and, either won a Super Bowl, maybe be a backup quarterback, or, I mean, you just don't know. But I just think, there's nothing for him left to prove. I mean, you don't want to go in your body and you want to be like, oh, man, this is it, I just wonder what Tom Brady's going to do. Now, he's got a 10-year contract with Fox Sports to be their key announcer or an analyst or whatever. Whatever he's going to do, he's going to do it. Question is, will he take that job? Right now, he is not. After the playoff loss, he says, quote, I'm going to take it one day at a time. I'm not going to rush. I'll make the decision when the time is right. Apparently, about maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, he decided, you know what, he just had enough. I mean, let's talk about what happened this season, or this past season. He came back. He figured, okay, let's try to win one more Super Bowl. But Tampa Bay didn't really have enough players. They didn't have enough players um to rely on him. I mean, here's his stats this year. Let's take a look at his stats. Threw for 4,694 yards, almost 4,700 yards. That's pretty good. 25 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Okay, so maybe the touchdown ratio is not high as he has. We all remember the epic 2007 season where he broke Peyton Manning's touchdown record and he broke Dan Marino's touchdown record as well. We all remember the 2007 season where he went undefeated but couldn't finish it off in the Super Bowl. Brady could be remembered by him losing twice to a Manning. Not Peyton Manning. Yes, it's true Peyton Manning beat him in the playoffs. But Eli Manning denied him 2 Super Bowls. Now, had he won against Eli Manning, you count 9 Super Bowls. You count 9 Super Bowls that he could have won. This season, it was all on his shoulders. He had multiple games where he threw the ball a lot. We remember the playoff game, he threw the ball 55 times. Now, when you have to throw it almost every game a lot, you're not going to win a lot of games. How he was able to win this division, how he was able to lead them to 8 wins, I have no idea. We look at the weapons he had. He didn't have none. Of course, remember last year's meltdown with Antonio Brown against the Jets. He acts like he saw that coming. He had Rob Gronkowski, which he won Super Bowls with. He's gone. Goodwin was a receiver. Julio Jones was trying to reenact his old Atlanta days, but wasn't much enough for him. And they didn't even have a running game. Brady figured that if he was going to come back, I don't think he would come back to Tampa Bay because who was there? Who would he be with? Bruce Arians coached him to that Super Bowl win. Todd Bowles is an okay coach, but he's more of a defensive coach. And the defense on Tampa Bay, it's pretty much, we don't know what. So, I mean, is he saying he's retiring because he doesn't want to come back to Tampa Bay? Or he's saying, I'm going to retire and then I'm going to pull a Carson Palmer where I'm going to play another place and you got to send me there. Hey, if this is the end of it, it could be bad for maybe 1 or 2 reasons. The first reason, Josh McDaniels is not going to get Tom Brady. So Raider fans, I'm sorry, you're not going to get him. So much for him saving his job with the Raiders. You're on the verge of trading Derek Carr away, which you brought in Devontae Adams, and you don't know who's going to play with. So what are you going to do now? Your big trump card may have just been slipped out of your hand. So I guess we'll find out in the coming months. Free agency starts next month. You might just wait till that to be an unrestricted free agent, and then decide, okay, well, I'm going to come back and play, but I'm going to play somewhere else. Maybe this will be like a turnout disaster, like the Brett Favre, where, after the 07 season, he's like, oh, I'm done, but yet I'm going to come back, but I'm going to go play for the New York Jets, see what happens. I mean, hey, they had a good year that year. I mean, they were 8-3. But Favre trying to be John Wayne just wasn't enough. He was playing injured. They finished 9-7. Eric Mangini got fired. It was just a whole thing. And remember, the next season he went to Minnesota, 1 game away from the Super Bowl. He throws that costly interception that could have had the winning field goal set, but we'll never know what would happen that year. He comes back 1 more year, takes a huge shot, takes another huge shot. His body say, you know what, no more. And then he ends his streak of consecutive starts. So go ahead and comment on below. Just say, hey, tell me who you are, or if you have a YouTube name, just put your name and then just say, hey, what do you think? Is Tom Brady gonna be done for good? Is he gonna come back and play somewhere else? If so, where you think he'll play? Also, um, if he'll take the Fox deal and then be an analyst. If that contract's still available, I'll take it, guys. I'm just putting it out there. But this was one of the big factors um, that happened this week. But we're gonna go ahead and take a short break, take a short submission for timeout. When we come back, we're gonna talk about the other news that happened in the NFL this week. We're going to talk about what happened with Aaron Rodgers, what his future is now that Tom Brady has announced his retirement. Where is that going to leave Aaron Rodgers at? We do not know yet. He's been actually asked about it, and there's some teams that are pretty much out there. So, we're going to talk about that here on Sports Talk with Ed. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back.